Hi, I'm Jerry Webb. I'm a potter who draws things on pots. I'm a surfer, and I'm a 60-year-old who's still interested in pop music and what pop music could mean to people. We're standing in my room for a show that is called Songs for a Room, or From a Room, and it's part of a project that was instigated by ACE Open of South Australian Artist Commissions. When I was approached to do a commission, Liz asked me what would I want to do, what would be the dream job to do, and I thought it would be great to tile the whole gallery. But once we started looking into the logistics, that would have meant hand making about 20,000 tiles, putting them up on the wall somehow, and basically became a logistical nightmare. So I decided it would be interesting to make a shelter within the room and clad the whole shelter with decorated blue and white tiles. And as I started to think about building the room, I started to think a lot about shelter and the kinds of objects that we surround ourselves with, the kind of language we surround ourselves with, to make our lives more meaningful or comfortable. And in reflecting on that, I just thought the best thing to do would be to build a shelter that had images and words that reinforce those ideas. In the midst of the project, once I'd probably done about 600 tiles or so, I started to worry, as you do, about what the work meant and all of those kinds of things, and I started to feel very self-conscious that it was a very indulgent project, and that I was just reflecting on things that interested me, things that I couldn't seem to get away from. But then the more I thought about it, the more I convinced myself that if you make it very much about yourself, then you're actually making it about lots of people. You know, we all kind of share the same notions and ideas. And I also didn't want things to be read in a very particular way, and so, for example, I started to do lots of homeless people, but the interesting thing about blue and white tiles and blue and white ceramics is that people don't expect anything on them other than flowers or birds or fish or whatever. And so they're kind of invisible, and I thought it would be interesting to have little images, little kind of sad images of people under duress, the homeless, just going about their kind of daily toil, which you don't really see until you get right up close to the tile. And so here's a little figure pushing their trolley for their worldly belongings around the streets of Adelaide, I guess. The whole room really reflects ideas and images and concerns that I've had running around in my head for about 40 years. And I've always been interested, I always thought I would end up, because I thought I was going to be an artist, I always thought I would end up having no money, maybe having nowhere to live, and reflecting on that kind of idea. And so in 2010, I started to make a series of plates with disenfranchised people on it. And so this plate, this one, and this one are all about 8 years old. And when I started to think about this idea of the room as a shelter, I was reminded that this concern had been running around in my head for a long time. And I liked the kind of irony of like a meat platter that had an image of someone on a was probably not going to get fed. And so I kept making more plates using imagery that kept reflecting that kind of concern. I guess my house is just a reflection of the way I feel about making things and the way I think things can, decorative art can kind of enrich your life, and a lot of this comes from looking at other cultures like Mexican and Portuguese, Dutch, and so that I guess the art side of things becomes embedded in your life, which had a lot to do with the original impetus for Songs for a Room at ACE, that you could kind of have an interaction with your interior, I suppose. The basis of everything that I do is to do with functionality, and that whole idea that small things, small, maybe quirky or humorous things can help to enrich your daily life in some way.